Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My mind is art. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My mind is art. I am Tanvi Gupta. So if you're all well, then let's take a break from a very busy day and let's take 3 deep breaths with our mouth closed and let's fold our hands and do it together. Hi. So as you all know by the title, in today's video we are going to talk about sunscreen. So if you're interested, then please let's get going. Without any further delay, let's get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about is why sunscreens. So I never used to use sunscreen until I came across this experience in my own family. So my father has some deep patches here, dark colored hyperpigmentation patches, and which are mostly a cause of a metabolic syndrome. So he has contacted a lot of dermats, and he has also contacted a lot of metabolic doctors, general physicians, and so many doctors, and everyone said that lose weight and it will get better, or some dermat suggested some treatment and if you will do that it will get better. So my father has tried and tested everything, but these patches never went away. So now we have realized that it's not those simple basic hyperpigmentation patches caused because of a metabolic syndrome, but it is sunburn that has permanently scarred his skin, because my father never used to wear a sunscreen. He does not wear a sunscreen even today. And when I realized that, and I came across some good influencers, and I decided to start wearing a sunscreen regularly, and now I do. I have started wearing sunscreen. I apply it on my face. I'm wearing it now, and because I'm sitting against a window, a broad window which has direct sunlight coming to my face. Anyway, this incident made me wear sunscreen and made me realize the importance of sunscreen, that maybe I cannot see the damage that the sun is causing me now, but over the years it will reflect, I will see and I will experience some of the other damage. Also, one thing I would like to add, that I also started experiencing some fine lines on my forehead, and I surely believe that during the lockdown I used to sit in the exact same position. I never used to wear a sunscreen and I used to do makeup videos, and I used to sit in the direct sun. So I think that is what primarily caused all that sun damage, because it was almost for an year that I was doing that without any sunscreen. So anyway, yeah, so this was your inspiration or motivation to start using the sunscreen if you haven't been already. Now let's get into the video and discuss why we should use a sunscreen, how to use a sunscreen, what are the types of sunscreens, what will happen if we will not use sunscreens, and everything related to sunscreens. Now the truth is that we all need sun exposure because it is the primary source of vitamin D. So when our skin gets sun, it gets exposed to the direct sunlight. The cholesterol in our skin converts it into vitamin D, the sun rays. So what happens is, if we go in the sun for prolonged period of time without using a sunscreen, it may damage the skin DNA, it may cause skin cancer, it may suppress our immune system, and it may cause a lot more problems. Now the sun promotes two types of radiations, UVA and UVB. We both know UV stands for ultraviolet, so UVA and UVB. Now exposure to both of these radiations has proven to cause skin damage and skin cancer eventually. Now UVA has a longer wavelength and it is associated with skin aging, whereas UVB has a shorter wavelength and it is associated with skin burning. Now the UVB rays generally cause the sunburn, whereas the UVA rays cause the sun tanning and the premature aging. Did you know UV rays can also cause eye cancers and cataracts? That is why it is advised to wear eyeglasses or sunglasses, UV protecting sunglasses, while we are out in the sun. UVA and UVB affect our skin differently, but they both cause skin damage. Now we are going to discuss the 5 W's of sunscreen: who, what, when, where, how, and why. Now first, who should wear a sunscreen? Everyone should wear a sunscreen, whether a man or a woman or a child. Infants above 6 months are known to be safe to wear a sunscreen. Whether you stay indoors or whether you go out and expose yourself to the sun for long duration of hours, you should ideally wear a sunscreen. Now if you have acne prone skin or you have active acne, you need to wear a sunscreen all the more. Now when should I apply sunscreen? You should apply a sunscreen every day, 30 minutes before going out in the sun. you should, even if you're staying indoors and you see the weather is cloudy, you should use a sunscreen of SPF lesser, because even if you are indoors, you can still see things. The sunlight is still coming through. For example, if we can see this remote, the sunlight is coming. I don't have any artificial light on. It's just the sunlight through a window. So if we can see this thing, if we can see anything, if you can see me right now, then you need a sunscreen, because we are, even though we are sitting indoors, we still have some sort of UV radiation or sun exposure coming in through the windows and the glasses around us. We should also reapply a sunscreen every 2 hours, and especially after swimming or sweating, or we should invest in a good quality water resistant sunscreen. Where should we apply sunscreen? We should apply sunscreen on all the exposed areas. For example, I'm wearing this outfit, so ideally I should apply the sunscreen on my face, on my neck, on my ears, on my arms, and every area of my body that is exposed. So I should apply sunscreen every part of my body that is exposed to the sun. Now the torso and the abdomen and my legs are covered because I'm wearing covered clothes, so I don't need to apply sunscreen there, but whichever part is exposed, we should apply sunscreen there. Very often what happens is, whenever someone starts applying sunscreen, they just apply it on their face and they forget their ears and neck. And I'll insert 2 pictures that will tell you what happens if someone does that. There are 2 pictures, they have been circulated on the internet for quite some time, and you will see how the person applied, or the sun, the half side of the face of that person was exposed to the sun, because of which that area was damaged and it got a lot of wrinkles, whereas the other half is completely fine. And similarly, the person applied the sunscreen on their face and they forgot on the neck, and the skin neck has aged so much, it has shown so many wrinkles, but the face is intact. The next is how much sunscreen you should apply. Ideally, it is said 2 fingers full of sunscreen you should apply. Like if you have a pump, you should apply it on these, and then you should emulsify it a little bit and apply it on the face and all over your body. And yeah, that is the ideal quantity that the dermats and the doctors recommend. Now, why should you use a sunscreen? You should use a sunscreen because it has SPF, which is sun protecting factor, which helps us to protect from the UV radiation of the sun. So, and thereby it helps us to prevent our skin from sun damage, UV radiation damage, and also thereby preventing us from skin cancers. Now let's talk about sunscreens and their ingredients and how to select a good sunscreen. So sunscreens are majorly of 2 types, physical sunscreen and chemical sunscreens. Physical sunscreens are also known as mineral-based sunscreens. So a physical or a mineral-based sunscreen has ingredients like titanium oxide or zinc oxide, and what it does is it doesn't let the UV rays penetrate into the skin. Instead, it acts as a shield and it blocks the UV rays and it scatters them. Now, the chemical-based sunscreens have ingredients like octisalate and avobenzone, which acts like a sponge, and before they can damage the skin, it absorbs all the UV rays falling onto our skin. Now, while some people may think that physical sunscreens or mineral-based sunscreens are better than the chemical-based sunscreens, both of them have chemicals included in them. So both of these sunscreens are tested and they are clinically safe. At the end of the day, everything we apply is chemical. So we need to make sure that we are using a good quality chemical or a good quality sunscreen. Now, there is a thing in the sunscreen called SPF, which is sun protecting factor. We have sunscreens available with SPF 15, SPF 10, SPF 30, SPF 50 or more. Now, what does sun protecting factor mean? So the SPF means how long does it take for the rays to redden our skin if applied properly. So if the sunscreen has around SPF of 30, then it means that it will take 30 minutes longer for the sun or the sun rays to burn our skin or to damage our skin. So most of us should use a sunscreen with an SPF of 30 or above, and I ideally use SPF 30 or SPF 50. But if you stay indoors and if you stay in a closed room where you don't have access to any sort of sunlight, then you can use an SPF of 15, or you can use a moisturizer which has a sunscreen or SPF factor included, and you don't need to apply a special sunscreen individually. Also, no matter the SPF, reapplication after every 2 hours is extremely important. One more thing that you need to check before buying a sunscreen is the broad spectrum thing. Now, earlier it used to be believed that only UVB rays damage the skin, but over the years it has been found that UVA rays are also equally harmful. So you need to have a sunscreen which has broad spectrum, which means it protects us from both UVA and UVB rays. So that is the ideal sunscreen that you should buy. So at the end, I'd like to add a few brand recommendations. I have listed all my brand recommendations in the description box. You can check that out. I have 5 sunscreen recommendations that I have been using for quite some time. They're all tried and tested by myself. I have tried and tested them on myself, and it's my feedback on my view how they have suited me. It may or may not suit you, so please always do a patch test if your skin is sensitive. I have added 5 brand recommendations. Please check out the description box. I've also added the links to buy. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this video was useful and you will start using a sunscreen if you aren't using already, because sunscreens are very important in order to protect ourselves from developing skin cancer or skin burn or skin damage in the longer period. So I'll see you in my next one, guys. Till then, bye bye, take care. Thank you.